All right. Yo, 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 what's good, everyone? It is your boy, Lincoln Clay, the godfather of gaming, the ageless wonder, coming back at you with another live stream. You know what to do. Hit the bell icon, hit the like button. The rest will take care of itself. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. I've been ready for a few minutes. Oh, Jamal Adams, what is up? H Player, Lay, what's going on with y'all? What's good, everybody? I've been ready for a few minutes, but I wanted to, give the YouTube time to get notifications out. Because I think sometimes when I do these live streams, a lot of times I'll just, type in the title into the YouTube studio and then just go right at it. And so it usually takes a few minutes for those who want to watch to get there. Emiris, what's going on? So this time I decided to wait a little bit, so I kind of like put the notification out that it was waiting for me. And then I wanted to give it a few minutes to give it time to get the notifications out. But yeah, I think it's been a lot of news these past few days. A few things in particular caught my attention, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. Ooh, excuse me. So, and I'll talk about it in the order that you see it in the title. And I'll start with the finger pointing. Xbox and the Sony ponies, as they get called, have been going at it for years. And I think meanwhile, all these years, the PC cats have just been sitting back and watching this whole shit, unfold in front of them and just sitting there laughing at the whole thing. And, meanwhile, you got, some of them, talking that console peasant shit and PC master race shit and all that kind of stuff. While I do have a PC and I am enjoying myself on this PC, I don't really consider myself part of that, part of that shit. It's still fun to watch, but I don't really put myself in there. You're not going to see me, talking that console peasant shit. You're not going to see me talking that PC master race shit. Because being brutally honest, right now the PlayStation still has the best games, hands down. Have the most compelling games. They have great looking games, and I would probably say that their exclusives probably release with the least amount of bugs. These single player games are usually finished, so and any kind of bugs or glitches that you might see in these games are minor. Whereas these third-party games, the broken shit is becoming normal. So anyway, so as I was saying, the PC cat's been sitting back and watching the console people going at it, and so recently some shit happened, with the Epic Steam store thing. That's caused a big rift over in the PC community. Taking you back of how this shit first got started. Everybody knows that what was it? I think it might have been in Metro Exodus. I think that might have been the first like AAA game to go to the Epic store on a time exclusive. Ben Talon, what's up? And when it happened, I didn't really think nothing of it because I'm figuring that's just the belly of the beast. What's up, Jackknife? That these platforms doing whatever it takes to get a hold of content that will bring gamers to their platform. It is what it is. And so when the Epic Store, got the timed exclusive for Metro Exodus, I really didn't think nothing of it. But when the Division 2 became exclusive, that's when shit started getting loud, I believe. Saris is great. What's up? That's when shit started getting real loud, and that's when shit started getting real. And I was like, that's like kind of had my ears perked up. I was like, damn, is this going to be the situation moving forward that, Epic Games is going to be breaking his back to get timed exclusives? They got the bigger split. They got an 8812 split for developers and publishers. In addition to that, I think they allow developers to use the Unreal Engine for free. Titanfall Princess, baby, baby, baby. Was good, baby, baby. Oh, struggling with those kidney stones. I never had them before, Jack Knight, but damn, I seen the look on people's faces that had them. The job that I had that I got laid off from, one of the bosses there had a kidney stone. He looked like he was in constant pain. And, he had to get surgery to get him removed. So back to this Epic Steam shit. So you wouldn't wish kidney stones on my worst enemy. I'd probably say the worst pain that I've ever experienced was a toothache, because that shit is just constantly pounding. You can't even sleep at night. This shit hurts so bad you want to take a chainsaw and just cut that part of your jaw off and just hope that'll be the end of it. I think the second worst pain I've ever felt was a pinched nerve from deadlifting in the gym. I had bad technique, instead of driving with the legs, I let the booty come up in the air and lift it with my back, and I felt a sharp pain. The next morning I got out of bed and it was like my whole legs just quit on me, had me, just dropped me to my knees. I was crawling all around. You said toothache is child's play to kidney stones. I don't doubt that. But I've never had any kind of surgeries. I've had stitches in my right hand before, but they called that surgery. I don't consider that surgery. But I don't doubt what you're saying about the kidney stones. It's just, as far as my experience, the toothache is the worst thing that I've ever experienced. It's just constant pounding. And then, like, once you take aspirin to try to reduce the pain, all it takes is something extremely cold or extremely hot to hit that tooth again, to flare that shit up and have it banging again. So yeah, but I had to get a couple of teeth pulled from that shit. It hurt so motherfucking bad. But so anyway, so naturally, a lot of PC cats, some of them is upset by the shit that Epic is doing, to the point where they try to review bomb Borderlands 2 on the Steam store. This shit doesn't seem to go away. It's not seeming to go away anytime soon. So this shit seems to get louder. Morphine is the only pain relief for kidney stones. Shit, I believe it. And so now with the shit that's going on with the Epic Steam store, Uncompetitive, what's up? We basically got a triangle now where Xbox, PC, and ponies are all pointing fingers at each other while they have their own shit to do, their own shit to deal with. Thomas Burton, what's up? And so, okay, so on the PC side, they who do I start with? Because it's going to sound regurgitated, when I say this, but I'm going to be basically going into a triangle saying this is what one platform is saying about the other two, but this is what they're dealing with on their end. And I think I'll start with the ponies, because I think out of all these three situations, out of this triangle, I think the Sony situation is the least fucked up. But Sony cats are kind of laughing at this Epic Steam Store shit. So they laughing at the PC cats, or pointing fingers at them, whatever you want to call it, and they also pointing fingers over on the Xbox side, because what they dealing with over there is this Xbox Live Game Pass combo for $15 that they seem to think is a great deal, which I think is just a slick way of making you pay what you've already been paying. But as far as what the PlayStation people are dealing with is that they've been taking criticism for is the refund policy. Basically, truthfully speaking, this refund policy that Sony has put in place, to me, it's almost like why even put it out there? Because you buy a game, and the minute you start downloading it, that voids out the refund. PC Master Race, what's up, Spartan God? That voids out the refund. If you basically, if you buy a game from the PlayStation Store, if you do anything beyond pre-ordering the game, if you do anything beyond that, you don't get a refund. If you start downloading the game, if you play the game, you don't get a refund. I guess the only way you get a refund is if the game is buggy and fucked up. Uncompetitive, do you think it is a way to get rid of Xbox Live Gold but still charge for it? Hold on a second, y'all. Damn, I was about to sneeze and blow my damn brains out. Garuda Legends, what's up? I think this Xbox Live Games Pass combos, I think it's the same shit that Microsoft has been doing since their existence, is fucking you over but trying to make you think you're getting a good deal. About please don't uppercut me to the moon. Just like the other one when you said don't suplex you to the volcano on top of a volcano. Shit, I need to be saying that to you. You 6'2", 230. Because I'm down to about 208. Yeah, uncompetitive. I'm gonna come. Sony's new policy is good for those who financial circumstances unexpectedly change. I'm talking about the refund policy. Where I'm going with this, I'm not really talking about whether the refund policy is good or bad. What I'm talking about is this triangle that we have with the PC community, the Xbox and the Sony ponies, that they're all pointing fingers at the other platform, but yet they all, got something coming back to them and blowing them up in their faces. And in the case of the Xbox, they are pointing a finger at the PC community for this Epic Steam Store shit that's going on. And well, I started with the ponies because I'm trying to stay on this triangle. So like I said, I'll get back to the ponies first. They pointing at the PC people for the shit, this Epic Store. They laughing at the Xbox over this Xbox Live Game Pass combo, which I think is a ripoff. But they got staring in their faces is this refund policy, which I really think ain't shit. Craig Harris, what is up, my man? I think that refund policy ain't shit. Truth be told, the refund policy that they just announced, I thought that's the way it always was. I thought all they were doing was just being clear about it, making sure everybody knows about it before they go buying something. And I hear it's I call it a you technically right, uncompetitive. You say it's not a ripoff, it's just no better. The reason why I called it a ripoff is because I said Microsoft has been doing what they've been doing for years, and you know, they fucking you over, or, you know, and making you think you're getting a deal. Spartan God said, yo, Lincoln channel really grew, man. I appreciate it, man. But tell the truth, I've been stuck at 494 subscribers now for like shit, like 4 weeks. It'll climb up to 495, and you know, I'll get a sub, I'll lose one, I'll get one, I'll lose one. And that's the way it's been going. But you know, but while I'm on that subject, before I get back to the main shit, I do want to reiterate again that when I hit 500 subs, I'm going to do a giveaway. And again, the terms of this giveaway is you must have a PayPal account. No exceptions. And the reason for that is I think that is the best way to include, you know, our European friends, you know, our Australian friends, our Asian friends, wherever anybody outside of North America that's sub to my channel. I want them to have a fair chance to win something, and that's why you got to have a PayPal. You got to have a PayPal account, because money is money, no matter how it gets converted. Whether it's get converted to euros, pounds, queets, you know, whatever. So yeah, I think, you know, basically, I think what I'm going to do is once I hit 500 subs, I think I'm going to do it like before and do, you know, get one, you know, use one of those randomizers, and whoever wins, you know, I'm going to pay out some money. So Spartan God, you said it's okay. That happened with Craig. He was stuck at 596 one time for like a month. I wonder if he remembers. By the way, that PlayStation Premium rumor has been debunked. I didn't even have a chance to look into that PlayStation Premium rumor, to tell you the truth, Spartan God, you know. So I mean, if you want to fill me in on that real quick, I'll get back to talking about what I was saying. So now let's go to the, you know, so now on the Xbox side, you know, you got them laughing at PC and talking shit about the PlayStation policy when that Xbox Live, you know, Game Pass combo ain't shit. And then, you know, and then now we got the PC people who jumped into this shit, laughing at, you know, they've been laughing at the consoles going at it for years, and now they got their own situation. So it's a lot of finger pointing going on, you know, and everybody got their own shit going on, you know. So but I think out of the three situations, I think that the Xbox Live Game Pass combo is the most fucked up, in a sense that they try to make you think you getting a deal when all you doing is paying for what you already been paying for. I mean, worst case scenario, if you pay $10 for Xbox Live, you pay $10 a month, and you pay $10 a month for Game Pass, you pay $240. This current shit that they're doing right now for $15 a month, by combining the two, still comes out to be $180 a year. But all it is the same as having 1 year of Xbox Live and paying $10 a month for Game Pass. Is not a motherfucking deal, but they try to make you think it's a deal. About 25 years ago, I was messing around with this married chick. Yeah, I was doing that shit. And her husband worked for this, he was in the car business. And what his company would do is they would go to dealerships that had slow sales, and they would go there and put up the balloons and all that shit, making it look like it's a carnival and making it seem like they having a blowout sale to draw people in, but they're not giving you any deals on the cars. The cars are still priced as such before this company even came there and set up shop. And that's basically his deal, was to make you think you're getting a good deal. Gamertag VR, what's going on? I want you to know that you know, when I saw your video today about the LABO, about how they're gonna have a deluxe and the base LABO, and I went to Best Buy and looked into that and saw the prices of it, and yes, I'm going to get a Nintendo LABO myself. I'm curious. I'm curious. So, you know, we're done with the finger pointing. I'm done with talking about that. I spent more time talking about that than I wanted to. Real quick, everybody knows that today PSN name changes are supposed to go live today. I've tried it. It's not. It hasn't reached my area yet. I'm thinking it hasn't reached my my region because I'm not able to change my name yet. But believe me, as soon as it reaches my PlayStation, I will be changing my name to reflect my YouTube name. I know there's a lot of you that I'm friends with on YouTube that know me as Lincoln Clay, but may not know, but like probably looking on their friends list and like, who the hell is Money May? Because I think that's a lot of names to keep up with. A lot of YouTubers that I'm friends with, a lot of subs and shit. You got a YouTube name, but your PlayStation name is different. So it's like anybody who contacts me almost have to send me a note like, hey, this is so-and-so on YouTube. So I want to take that out of the equation, and I'm going to change my name to Lincoln Clay naturally once I'm able to do it. And that way, so when you see that name on there, I won't have to explain. You said, J-Dog, you just check mine, but it's there, but you're not changing it. Well, I get that, but being that I do, these podcasts, and I've been, accepting friend requests from subs and viewers and that kind of stuff, I think it makes it a lot easier if my YouTube name and my PlayStation name were the same. So you want the PS name masturbator. I will say that they did one up. They did get the leg up on Microsoft in this department, because like Microsoft, the first game change is free. After that is $9.99, but it's $5 if you are a PlayStation Plus subscriber, which I think is more than reasonable. Once I change my PlayStation name to Lincoln Clay, I don't think I'll be changing my name again unless I change my YouTube name. If it wasn't for me having a YouTube channel, I wouldn't change my name at all. I don't have a problem with my name naturally, as all of you, those who are friends with me, those who've been following my channel. My name on the PlayStation Network is Money May, and that is my tribute. That is my tribute to my cousin Floyd Mayweather. And that's why my name is Money May, because everybody calls him Money May for short, Money Mayweather, what have you. And that's why my name was is Money May. But and I don't have a problem with that name. I still like that name, and I wouldn't change it if I didn't have a YouTube channel. But because I have a YouTube channel, and I'm trying to interact with viewers and subs and stuff like that, I think it's I think that's the best move for me to go ahead and change my name to reflect my YouTube name. So Garuda Legends, you respect her loveliness. Hey, you better watch your mouth, man, or I just might go ahead and suplex you on top of that volcano, or I'll get gamer tag on you, because that dude's super big. That dude about 246 something. I'll sick him on you. But I think that's pretty cool. To me, the name change wasn't something that, I wasn't going to die if it didn't happen. But I mean, but now that they've, finally going to do it and give us another option, I think that's pretty cool. That's a good thing. So that's that. No need to spend a lot of time on that. On to the next subject. The LABO VR. As I explained earlier, I saw a video from Gamertag VR, who's in the chat, one of my friends. I appreciate it. You'll send me the location of the volcano. Okay. So Gamertag VR is going to get the Nintendo Labo. He's curious about it, and he broke down the price in European currency, and that prompted me to go to Best Buy and see what the listings are. And just a minute here. So you've got two different versions of this. You got the Labo Toy-Con VR kit, and that's $80, and you got the Labo Toy-Con VR kit, the starter kit, and that comes with the goggles that you built along with some blaster gun, mini game. That's all I'm going to get because I'm not interested in the other stuff. I'm not, unless my son wants it. All I'm interested in is the goggles, and that's $40. I think $40 to experience VR. I think $40 is like pennies on the dollar, comes compared to spending $400, $500, $600, $700, $1,000 for these other headsets, and shit, the Valve Index. I'm really curious about that headset. I'm hoping to God that it's only going to cost $400, but other YouTubers are thinking that it's probably going to cost anywhere from $800 to $1,000 because they're pointing out that this is an upgrade from what you already have. And I think the resolution is around 4K, give or take a few P's. Gamer tag, you said it's very cheap. I think for E35, you get a starter kit, you get a blaster, and the apparently garage add-on that gives you 60+ mini games and the ability to create your own. Yeah, that's pretty slick. Plus the Mario and Zelda VR update is free. And and it's funny that you mentioned that too, because when I bought my son the Nintendo Switch, Zelda was really the only good game that was part of that launch lineup. So I got him Zelda, and he played that a lot. He played that quite a bit. I think until Gears of War 4 came out. Then he stopped playing his Switch so much. But now he's gotten back to playing his Switch. And last week I mentioned to him that the LABO VR is coming out, and I told him about Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild being free updates for this LABO VR. And oh wow, he just happened to point out to me that I don't have Mario Odyssey, so he already set me up. Then he asked me if he could have Mario Odyssey, so naturally I bought him Mario Odyssey. So now he's got both games needed for the update. And but I'm guilty too, because I really am curious. I really want to see it. Gamertag VR, I just want to say I appreciate these podcasts, dude. Very enjoyable. Wish it wasn't 2 a.m. for me to listen. Hey, I really wanted to do this Gamertag when I got out of work, because I got out of work at 2:30 p.m. Eastern today, which I think makes it 7:30 or 8:30 in Europe, because I do have a good amount of European subscribers, and they usually have to catch my podcast on the replay. And that's one of the reasons why my Live from Wakanda podcast, that I've tried to do it early, so they can try to catch it live. But I mean, up until now, I had been working 10 hours, and I hadn't been getting out of work until 4:30. And then after I take my power nap and I wake up at around 11 o'clock, shit. Jason Elliott, bro, I can't express how I wish my father had an interest in video games. Hey, Jason Elliott, real talk, my father ran the streets. He was out there, he was out there doing his thing. I mean, he took care of business at home. I never had to worry about a roof over my head or, whatever that, but no, in terms of interacting with me, no, he was out in them streets, doing his dirt. Me, I guess I just had a natural love for video game, because I said it before, in 1977, I believe it was, my parents got us our first video game console, which was that Telstar, and it had that Pong, the hash mark that goes up and down with the white dot going across the screen. And I think just from there, I had a love for video games and never looked back. There was a stage in my early 20s when I wasn't playing video games, because then I was out in the streets chasing women and doing dirt and getting drunk and all kinds of shit. And I think I didn't come back to video games until I was like about 28 years old or something like that. Whenever the Sega Genesis, by the time that became affordable, I think like by the time the Sega Genesis came down to like $100 or something like that, that's when I finally got back into video games, and since then I haven't looked back. Video games is my passion, it's my escape, and given how old I am, because I'll be 52 next month, I think that I'm very fortunate to be here at a time where I'm getting to experience VR. Because going all the way back to when I was a kid, when games only had hash marks, I always imagined, what it would be like to actually, um, like racing games, for instance. Even when racing games on the Atari 2600 looked like a block with motor noise, I always imagine what it would be like to sit behind the wheel of a race car and stuff like that. And virtual reality has gotten as close to the real thing as possible. Um, Uncompetitive. You said I don't look 3 years older. I would probably say uncompetitive. One of the things that did help me is that I don't drink. Um, I, I haven't drank in about 8 years. That was a decision I made when I got back into the gym because I didn't want, you're supposed to go to the gym. You end up having a couple of beers. You're not going to make it to the gym. So I decided, beer and shit like that was something that I had to cut out of my life. So although I haven't been to the gym in about a month and a half, I still don't have a desire to drink. I don't miss it, and then as far as the gym goes, shit's finally slowing down. We're finally off of these 10-hour shifts. So now, I'm targeting Monday as my return date to the gym. So Jason Elliott's facts. If he'd never said it, I would have said mid to late 30s. This picture right here that you're looking at right here, this picture was taken last summer. So if I'm not mistaken, so yes, I was 50 years old at the time that this picture was taken. So I consider myself fortunate. I've lost a lot of friends over the years that are my age, that I grew up with from bad health. Things happened to them. A lot of them didn't take care of themselves, what have you. So I think I'm very fortunate to not only still be alive, but to be in decent shape for my age. I can't run anymore, in the sense that, yes, I can run, but you're talking about a guy that, comes from a family of athletes. Both my father's side of the family as well as my mother's side of the family being a Mayweather, my family is full of athletes. So the shit that I could do when I was young was, I guess, was no surprise to me. I kind of expected it to be that way. But now at 52 years old, I consider myself very fortunate. Garuda, you said you're drinking right now. Smart move. My knees feel like sandpaper. My spine is never straight. And you're 32. Ooh. I party way too hard. You know something else, Garuda? I never played sports in high school. I mean, I wrestled in high school, but other than that, no sports in high school. I was on the wrestling team for a couple of years in high school. So with that being said, my body didn't go too much wear and tear. I didn't go through too much wear and tear in high school. A lot of these dudes, injuries from playing football in high school and shit like that still got some of these people messed up to this day. So anyway, I'm checking the Best Buy website. The LABO VR will be available April 12th. Naturally, my son has the Switch, and I normally get him on Saturdays. But I am going to send him a message on his Xbox tomorrow and ask him if he wants to come over on Friday so I can try this LABO VR. And I'm telling you right now, this LABO VR, this $40 version of this LABO VR that I'm about to buy, that is going to sell like hotcakes. You can call it cardboard if you want, but that LABO VR is going to sell like hotcakes, and it's going to move the VR industry further. It's going to move us that much more forward. And I'm all for the growth of VR. I was a huge supporter of the PlayStation VR, which I still am. And I think when all is said and done, especially next generation, when all is said and done, I think the PlayStation VR is still going to have the next. I think they're still going to have the best VR exclusives. But I think the industry as a whole is definitely moving forward. while it may not exactly be mainstream in terms of VR being in everybody's home, VR I think is mainstream enough that you can't ignore it. You know it's there. Even if you have no interest in playing VR, you know it's there, and there's so many headsets that's coming out. And I think the potential of the Oculus Quest being able to reach the mainstream, we might be on the verge of a VR explosion if the Oculus Quest can pull it off. There's no doubt in my mind. I think the Oculus Quest can have mainstream appeal, but I don't think it's going to happen until that price tag comes down. I think $400 for the Oculus Quest is not a bad price, but I think how it is with the mainstream. Everything is about price with them. It's not about, I've been wanting a VR for 3 years and I'm saving up my money to get one. No, that when they see something that used to be $400, when they see that $299, then they might jump on it. Gamertag, you said, fingers crossed. It's a nice solid frame rate and people will want to further explore VR and get Quest or PSVR, without a doubt. And if Sony brings us, that the patent for the wireless PSVR headset, this patent is filed for the current generation PS4, I believe. That diagram is a PS4, and then the article that I read is basically for the PS4, for the wireless PSVR headset. If Sony decides to go ahead and introduce this wireless PSVR headset before the generation is over, I hope they advertise it. I hope they don't, just make one commercial. They need to shove that shit down people's throat with advertising. Along with the Oculus Quest, I said that in one of my previous podcasts, the Oculus Quest must be available at every retailer that carries any kind of electronics. It must be there. This can't be an Xbox. This cannot be a Best Buy exclusive. It has to be everywhere. Also, Gamertag, you said, but it could not be great and put people off. But I think Nintendo will do VR positive. Absolutely, because there's a lot of people out there that the Switch is probably going to catch the Xbox this year in terms of units sold, and I think I dare say maybe 35%, 40% of Nintendo Switch owners have a Mario game or Breath of the Wild. And with this VR update being free and the LABO VR being $40, it is a high reward, low risk move. And I think Breath of the Wild, I think that, well, both of them, because Mario all these years is still highly popular with Nintendo fans. So I think those two games are going to be huge for the LABO VR. But I think I've said it before in previous podcasts. I think that if Nintendo makes Pokemon in VR, that's going to be the knockout blow for VR. That is going to, I think that could probably be the move to put VR on the map, from a quick flash point of view. VR is growing at a slow burn, but I think I think the Nintendo LABO, along with a Pokemon game, that could be, that would be lighting the wick to a VR bomb that it would explode instantly. You said, Gamertag, you said, oh man, I got to wear an Oculus Quest the other day and I see the world in black and white. Very strange. Wow. Oh, you mean the Oculus Quest has the ability to let you see the outside world, and I assume that when you see the outside world through the Oculus Quest, it must be in black and white. So I don't know. I'm maybe that's a compromise that they couldn't get around, because I'm also hearing that with the Oculus Quest, a big question is whether you can hook it up to a TV and display it to friends whenever you're, like if you have it at a party or something like that. Also, let me see. You're saying fingers crossed. Oculus sending me to a studio to play Shadow Point on Quest very soon. Wow, you gotta definitely share that with us. You definitely gotta upload some videos for that. Garuda, you said VR is lit. I was using it in the 90s in the arcade, and Jamal drop like I'm out movie night with old night. Okay. Oh, it said drop a like. I'm out. Okay, have fun. Have fun, Jamal. We'll catch you later. And gamer tag, Oculus Quest lets you see while wearing the headset so you can set up the Guardian system. You know, I never thought about that with the Oculus Quest because of the inside out tracking. And I was under the assumption that it would see everything. I was under the assumption that the Guardian would, you know, would form itself around any obstacles that's in the room. So I didn't know that you could. I didn't know that you could still set up the Guardian. But that makes sense though, because you know, in the case of the regular Oculus Rift, when you're setting up the Guardian, I'm still looking at my TV. You know, which in this case I'm using that as a monitor to set up the Guardian. So I'm guessing that this Guardian system through the Oculus Quest lets you see the outside world, but I'm wondering if it still gives you some kind of HUD display within the headset to let you see how you're setting up the Guardian. So that's interesting. I don't have any intentions of buying an Oculus Quest, and that's mainly because I don't get out a lot because I'm old. It's a fact of life. I just don't get out that much anymore. If I did get out a lot, then I would highly consider getting the Oculus Quest. Or if my son decides that he wants the Oculus Quest, I will strongly consider getting that. And it says the world is black and white, VR or 3D. It's weird, you know. I am curious about the Oculus Quest. So maybe some Shadow Point is also coming to the Rift. I'm not sure what game that is, because my God, it's so many. When it comes to the PC side of things, there are so many VR games out there. It's crazy. 1 second here. Let me have a drink, folks. But yeah, I think if in closing off the LABO VR part of it, I'm going to go out on a limb and say when Nintendo brings a VR update to the Pokemon game, that is going to be a VR explosion waiting to happen. That is going to be a bomb. You know, a bomb is going to get dropped. Oh, okay. You said it's voiced by Patrick Stewart and made by a Coat Sing. Okay, I've been hearing bits and pieces of a game, where Patrick Stewart is, doing the voice, doing the voice acting in the game. So I'll have to look into that and see if that's something that I'm interested in. I'm also curious about the Blade and Sorcery. This kind of graphic where you can, where you're in fights, sword fights with other warriors, and you can cut off limbs. You can cut off their leg, cut off their arms, cut off their heads. I'm really curious about that game, so I might go ahead and get it. So yeah, I'm curious about Blades and Sorcery. I'm curious about Asgard's Wrath. I'm absolutely looking forward to Lone Echo 2. Definitely looking forward to that. I think I'm about 65% done with Lone Echo. I'm going to get back to that so I can finish that game. And then, we got the said Blade and Sorcery is lit. Covered that the other day. All right, and I think you sold me on the gamer tag. I think I'm going to go ahead and pick it up. Something else. Before I go into this subject about the VR racing sims, because I've got 3 racing games on my PC, and I bought them solely to be able to race in VR. So I wanted to talk about those. But before I do get to that, I was wondering about something. Something. I wonder what the attach rate is for VR owners. It's got to be super, super high. I dare say that, VR gamers probably have the highest attach rate in video games. And before I say why, I do want to point out that, to me, I never really cared about attach rates. One time I was watching a Porter Rock stream, and he was talking about attach rates. I guess an ex-bot came at him and tried to say that Sony only had like a 1.9 attach rate in terms of games. And so he broke down the formula, and he said, you know, the 360 era, that was the most Xboxes that Microsoft has sold, around 80 million. So once he broke down that attach rate formula, it turns out that 360 owners had about a 1.8 attach rate, which was lower than the PS4. With that being said, I'm wondering what the attach rate is for VR owners, because I have so many games. I got more games than I can count. And I think I think there's two reasons why I believe there's a high attach rate for VR owners. One is price, especially with Steam. You know, you see Gamertag, you said I didn't at the time. It was a dev kit, and they packed the wrong controllers. Wow. Okay, you're having a conversation with Guru the Legends. So about this attach rate thing, over at the Steam store, there is a ton of free-to-play VR games. And so the price of these VR games go anywhere from free to $100, depending on what game. But $20 seems to be the sweet spot. A lot of games cost, I'd say the average price on these games is between $15 and $20. So I believe price is one of the reasons why I believe that VR owners probably have a high attach rate, because a lot of the games are for $15 to $20, which, you know, so with at prices like that, you can get 3 or 4 VR games for the price of one $60 AAA game. And I think another reason why I believe that VR owners probably have a very high attach rate is because of the many different experiences. I think, you know, people who are deep into VR, Lincoln, have you got Viveport, or would you? Just a second, because I hate to be, you know, stupid, but I'm not even really sure what Viveport is, because I really hadn't got too deep into the Vive, because of how expensive the Vive headset is. Oh, Vive, okay. Viveport Infinity. Okay, you mean a subscription service. Um, that is interesting. If I had a HTC Vive, I do, you know, I understand. You know what? Now that I stop and think about it, I think it's been said that the Viveport, you know, the Xfinity, Viveport Xfinity subscription is compatible with most headsets. I don't know, Gamer Tag. That's something I have to really think about, because even if I am downloading something digitally, even if I pay for it once and that's it, I don't have to worry about paying them next month to be able to. I don't want to have to worry about paying next month in order to be able to play this game. I want to be able to pay for it once, download it, and that's that. You said, I'm sorry, man. I don't want to cut you off. It was like a lined up question. No, that's she's asked me as many questions as you want. That's one of the things about my podcast, Gamer Tag, is that the viewers keep these conversations going. There's only so much that I can say. You know, when they ask me questions or point out things to me, it allows me to extend on something that they already said, or answer a question for them. So anything you want to ask away. I embrace it. So as far as Viveport Xfinity, again, you know, I don't think the price is bad, but I just don't like those kind of subscriptions, because if something crazy happens and I'm not able to pay once the membership runs out, then I lose all those games. I like the thought of being able to pay for a game, whether I have a physical copy or whether it's a digital copy. I want to pay for it and it's mine. So I won't have to worry about paying them the next month or renewing a membership or something like that. I just like the thought of paying for it. And then, you know, with I don't think there's enough games like Lone Echo, because I consider, you know, in terms of quality, I would consider Lone Echo a AAA type of VR game. Even though it's only like 10 hours of gameplay, I still consider it AAA quality, because it's by far one of the best the best VR game I have ever seen. And now if Viport Xfinity was loaded with those type of games in terms of quality, then yes, I would strongly consider it. But to pay $120 a year or something like that, for a bunch of romper room games, no, I don't know if I'd be up for that. Some of the romper room games that's going to be a part of that subscription, it would be easier for me to just go ahead and pay $2 or $3 for the game and be done with it. So, but getting back to the situation that I was talking about with the attach rate, I think another reason for a very high attach rate amongst VR gamers is the wide variety of experiences. Because as I was about to say before, I think everybody who owns a VR that's deep into VR wants to experience a variety of different things that they know that they would probably never do in real life. I mean, how many of us are going to get a chance to get behind the wheel of a Formula One car in real life and be able to do a couple of laps on a track? How many of us are going to parachute out of a plane in real life? How many of us want to be on the battlefield shooting at people, but don't want to get shot at in real life? VR brings all that to life without the risk. It's the closest thing to all those experiences without, the real thing. Whether, some of these experiences that I talk about that people would want to do, some of them might not be able to afford some of those experiences, like the racing that I talk about, or some of them might be dangerous and you wouldn't want to be out on the battlefield getting shot at in real life. Something like bungee jumping. Like one time I went to Las Vegas and at the top of one of the hotels there, Circus. That's one of the tallest at the time that I went to Vegas, it was one of the tallest buildings on the strip. And I was watching people bungee jump off, like basically bungee jumping off the top of that building. And I said, these people are crazy. There's no way I'd do that shit. That rope snap and it's over for you. But I wouldn't have a problem doing something like that in VR. I can get that rush without risking my life. And again, that's why I think VR has such a high attach rate, because of all the different experiences that you can experience. I'm willing to bet you there's a lot of people, and I might be, and I might be facing a little bit of backlash for this, but I'm willing to bet you that there is a lot of people out there that have a VR headset that have a ton of games, but they haven't finished those games, like me, because they want to see what that experience feel like. Oh, we got a new game where you're in a rocket headed to the moon. I want to jump inside this rocket for a few seconds and know what it felt like to be an astronaut when that rocket first took off. Okay, I've got to the moon. I've seen what the moon looks like. Okay, time to pop in the next game. Oh, let me go deep sea diving. That kind of stuff. Titanfall Princess. I have a VR game called Premium Bowling. I've done a couple of streams on that game. It's on the PC. I think it's a game that they should bring to the PlayStation VR, as well as the Poker Stars VR game. I think that should come to the PlayStation VR. I think maybe Sony hasn't done it because they wouldn't want to face any kind of backlash over people crying over gambling, that kind of stuff. But there's a game called Premium Bowling. And you can join leagues. You can go up against live opponents, and you can join leagues with live opponents. And so I've done a couple of those premium bowling games, and I sucked. And that was a tough pill for me to swallow, because I've actually bowled on a league for about 15 years, and I used to carry a 200 average. So for me, I could throw a 200 game for a warm up. To jump on that premium bowling game and only shoot about a 130 was a blow to my ego. Oh, without a doubt. No gamer tag. Now I did this. I was streaming Poker Stars, right? And because I was like talking to everybody, even though I couldn't see the comments. I was still talking to people. And so when the people at the poker table realized that I was streaming from YouTube, they was like, dude, what's the channel? And so I told them, and like a dummy, I didn't realize that they wanted to know what my channel was so they could go to my stream and see my hand. Because when I'm streaming Poker Stars, you can see my hand. You know, at the bottom of the screen, it'll show you what my whole cards are, and then it'll show you what the face cards are. But absolutely, you know, we could definitely hook up on Poker Stars. I love that game. But Titanfall Princess, you said, man, I'm not getting premium bowling now. Hey, I like that premium bowling. You know, you said you love poker and Texas Hold'em in real life. Absolutely, Garuda. And Titanfall Princess, I think Gamertag just mentioned it. The rec room has bowling in it, and the rec room is like a huge recreational place in VR where you can go. You know, you can go play a variety of games. You go. I think you can play dodgeball. I think you can play laser tag type games in the. You can, as Gamertag just said, I think you can bowl in VR. There is a ton of stuff you can do in the rec room, and all you need to do is just get a just get a PlayStation VR headset. And I would love for you to join us in the VR community. We are a growing breed. We are getting bigger as we're growing at a slow burn, but our community is getting bigger. And I would love for you to join us in that community. The rec room is free. Also, Titanfall Princess is free. I would probably say the one thing about the rec room is you probably, you know, people should watch their language in there because they do take, you know, any reports they take seriously. If you get reported for something, they will look into it. but at the same time, you know, they can mute you and that kind of stuff. So you can create your own games in the rec room. You play Mario VR in the rec room. Shit. You have to go back and check that out. My son, he loves the rec room, but for whatever reason, he would rather play it on an Oculus. Garuda, you said, I love dodgeball. I'm not moving my feet. I will catch the ball and launch the ball back like a demon in real life. Do you have a VR headset, Garuda? Yeah, but Titanfall, you need to come join me on this journey. Next time the PSVR comes up on sale for $200, you need to grab it. You know, and I know that you wear glasses, but I believe out of all the headsets, I think the PlayStation VR might be the most friendly in terms of people wearing glasses because I think it has the most. I think you can adjust it as so, you know, for people who wear glasses. So you need to join me in that virtual reality world. Oh, VR 365. He is live in 30 minutes. 30 minutes. So I might have to wrap this up pretty soon. I've discovered his channel. I discovered his channel. I seen his channel a few months ago, but I recently subscribed to his channel a couple of weeks ago because I think he does podcasts about 3-4 days a week. Now, don't get me wrong. You know, I enjoy doing these podcasts, and I enjoy I enjoy everybody tuning in, but I like his content too, because he seems like he's passionate about VR. So I enjoy his content. There's another guy, I think he's French. His name is Tyrell Wood. He's a real big YouTuber in VR. I've watched a few of his videos, but he seems more like a tech guy to me rather than somebody who's passionate about VR. VR 365, he seems passionate about about VR. And speaking of which, gamer tag, while I have you in here, one of these Saturdays when I do my live from Wakanda podcast, you should join me. I would love to have you as a guest. Oh, Titanfall, you said good because I can't see well without them at all. Yeah, you definitely have room for glasses in there, and unless um, as long as you ain't wearing a big giant ass 1980 sunglasses and shit that's wider than your shoulders. I remember them from back in the days. I just need Borderlands 3 VR announcement. Okay, gamer tag. My live from Wakanda podcast. I usually now I moved the podcast to Saturday, to roughly 2 p.m. Eastern time, which I think over in Europe, which would be 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern, depending on how many hours you are ahead of us. I know in Germany, I think, geez, I know over there in Europe, I know you guys are like 5 or 6 hours ahead of us. So with me doing the podcast here at 2 p.m. Eastern, and it'd be 7 or 8 p.m. your time. So I think that, I'd like to think that'd be a good hour for you to make it. So, why don't we, gamer tag, not this coming Saturday. Why don't we shoot for the following Saturday for you to come on that Saturday? Because that'll give me time to build up material. Because I do this like from a Q&A standpoint. Like right now I'm in here by myself, so I'm just, giving my thoughts. But when I have guests, on, gotta go, guys. Work commitment. Stay safe. All right, I will definitely DM you, gamer tag, and I will talk to you later. And so, lastly, as I was saying about VR 365, he's getting ready to go live in about a half hour. In addition to watching his podcast, I want time to do a stream today. I don't know what I'm going to stream, but I do want to get a stream in before I go to bed. I will try to get VR sometime. I just had my dad's med build up. Well, I'll tell you what, Princess, the next time the PlayStation VR comes up on sale, I'll get in touch with you and see what I can do. Because I would definitely love for you to join me on that. And Patient Fire, what's up? Let's see here. Garuda Legends. Once we can unite with Europeans, I don't mind moving the schedule to get a good time for USA people and Europeans. I think see, when I was doing live from Wakanda at 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning on Sunday mornings, that was good for Europeans, but a lot of us here in the States were still asleep. I think by me doing it at 2 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, I think that is a good time for everybody to make it. Because I think the first time I did live from Wakanda on a Saturday, I think I had as many as 40 people watching, which is pretty good because I think on average, I usually have anywhere from 20 to 35 people watching. And I think the most I've ever had, in the podcast, people watching was 50 people, with me being VR centric, and VR ain't hit the mainstream yet. I don't expect to have a huge amount of people, watching my podcast. But hey, I had said it before that, even when my channel first started and I started out with 17 subscribers, I was flattered, I was honored, and I still am to this very day. I'm not one of those guys that's got to have 500,000 subscribers or something. It's every time I gain a subscriber, that's great. I truly appreciate it. But I'm not looking to try to break records. I'm not looking to try to make money off of YouTube. I'm just sharing my passion, with everybody. So I definitely appreciate it when I do these podcasts and people join in, in the chats and stuff like that. I definitely appreciate it. Uncompetitive. You said 2 p.m. Eastern time is 7 p.m. GMT for you. Okay, sweet. So that definitely works out for everybody. So, I think Gamer Tag already took off, but yeah, again, I wanted to say, not this Saturday. I'll DM him. like he said, but not this coming Saturday. But I want to shoot for him coming on the show the following Saturday. Also, I want to ask Joystick Guru to come on too. He's another friend of mine who has a VR channel. He has about the same amount of subscribers as me. He does a lot of VR streams himself. And he's been in the chat in a few of my podcasts, so I definitely want to ask him to come on as a guest too. So I think, for Live from Wakanda, I'm definitely going to start trying to reach out to some more VR YouTubers. So again, Titanfall Princess, next time one of those VRs come up on sale, I'll get in touch with you and we'll see what we can do about that. I have another drink here. Eddie Williams, what's up? Uncompetitive, you said I would like in future for you to describe what kind of interactions you want out of VR. We're slowly already moving in the direction that I want for VR uncompetitive, and I want AAA experiences. It doesn't have to be a game where they spent $60 million making or $100 million, but I want AAA experiences. I want more experiences like Lone Echo, and we're already going to get them because that Blood and Truth, for those that seen the trailer of Blood and Truth, that doesn't look like some cheap $5 game that they just slapped together. It looks like a high budget VR game. So you add me PS4? Okay, type your PSN in the chat and I'll send you a friend request. Impatient Fire, you said you're just so happy that we're getting No Man's Sky in VR. I think that right there, I think between No Man's Sky, am I okay with continuous movement or teleportation? I would prefer. Hold on a second. I would prefer continuous movement on competitive. Teleportation is okay. Speak of the devil, I just got an invitation from Joystick Guru. Teleportation is okay, but I think it reduces the immersion. I think it takes some of the immersion out of it. So I think smooth turning. He's at a party. I have to catch him after I get done with the stream. And let me just a minute, Eddie Williams. Let me see if I can look for you right now. Holla at Eddie. Okay. I'll send you a friend request when we get done with this podcast, Eddie. Also, I think they're talking about Iron Man being a full blown story, a full blown game in VR. I think that's another game that's going to be huge for the VR industry as a whole. I think if the Iron Man VR is, I think if it's half as good as the Spider-Man game was, that's going to be the game that's going to get people talking about VR. And I think that's going to be one of the games that's going to get people looking into getting a PlayStation VR. No Man's Sky is going to be the game that's going to get people talking about VR as a whole, being that it's going to be cross-play and all formats are going to be able to play with each other, with PSVR, Oculus, and Vive all being able to play with each other. And VR players and non-VR players are also going to be able to play with each other. Everything you can do in the game, you'll be able to do in VR. No Man's Sky is going to be huge for the growth of VR. I think in terms of I think in terms of engagement, I think the No Man's Sky VR could be the Grand Theft Auto of VR in terms of how many people will play it, in terms of the replay value, in terms of the longevity. I think No Man's Sky in VR is going to raise that bar very, very, very high. Yes, Impatient Fire, the future of VR is very bright. Lastly, before I get ready to go, I want to talk about these VR racing sims that I've got. I've got 3 games on my PC. I've got Project Cars 2. I've got Assetto Corsa Competizione. I bought those 2 games. Am I hyped for Iron Man, Danny Ruiz? Absolutely. Not only am I hyped for Iron Man, Danny Ruiz, as I was saying in previous podcasts, 2019 has the potential to be the biggest year for VR. Again, let's talk about, the games that's coming out this year. We got Blood and Truth coming out. We got Iron Man. We got No Man's Sky coming out. We got Five Nights at Freddy's that's coming out this month. I don't know why they haven't given us a date yet, because we're almost halfway through the month already, and we don't have a date yet for Five Nights at Freddy's in VR. It's supposed to be out this month. So they need to hurry up and give us a date, because my son is getting edgy waiting for a date for that. So I just ran off those 4 games right there. We also have Lone Echo 2 this year coming out. Those are 5 excuse me. Those are 5 heavy hitters, in my opinion, that I just named off for VR. And then we've got a ton of VR headsets coming out this year. We've got the Oculus Quest and the Oculus Vive, which let me say that again. We've got the Oculus Quest and we've got the Oculus Rift S. Those are supposed to be out this month. We also have the Valve Index, which is Steam's exclusive headset. I think they set a date for June 15th for that to come out, but pre-orders start May 1st. But we'll get more information about that, once the pre-orders start, in terms of the specs, the refresh rate, all that kind of stuff. We also have the Nintendo Labo coming out here in just a couple of days. We have what other headset we have? I think the HP Preverve is coming out. We have that. I think we also have the Vive Pro and I think the Vive Cosmos. So I think the Vive Cosmos is Vive's version of the Oculus Quest. But if my information is correct about that, I think no, I don't want to go off and say that. I don't want to get into that, because I don't want to start spreading misinformation. So I need to do my homework about the Vive Cosmos and the Vive Pro before I go off talking about that. But I do believe that, one or both of those headsets are coming out this year. And, then we already got like the Pimax headsets out there at 4, 5, and 8K. Excuse me. So there's a ton of headsets. There's a ton of games coming to 2019. Because of all that stuff, 2019 could easily be the best year and the breakout year for VR. So I think the potential of, from an industry standpoint, I think the Nintendo Labo, with that being only $40, I think that's going to be huge for the growth of for the industry in the short term, because I think that thing might explode. I think that it's going to sell like hotcakes. That's going to be an instant explosion. That's not going to be a slow burn. It's going to gradually build up over time. I think that's going to explode, this weekend. I think the Oculus Quest has a mainstream appeal. I think it's going to get off to a slow start because of the $400 price point. When you're trying to appeal to the mainstream, no matter what it is you're trying to sell to them, price is everything to them. Whether you're trying to sell them shoes, food, TVs, whatever the case may be. Somebody like me who loves his toys, TVs and video game consoles and shit like that. Those are the kind of stuff that I'm going to buy day one, especially with the consoles. Something like the PlayStation 5 isn't going to appeal to the casual gamer until the shit comes down to like $300. With that being said about the Oculus Quest, I don't think that's going to have mainstream appeal until it goes down to about $300. But from what I'm understanding, I guess Facebook is expecting a slow start because of that $400 price tag. You said VR has been around for decades, but now it's epic as fuck, without a doubt. Danny Ruiz, I'm hyped for Iron Man, but I am hyped for a lot of stuff this year, a lot of games. And then, those are the heavy hitters that I told you about. There's a lot of other games that's coming out. There's not as big, not as much hype surrounding them, but there's still a lot of games coming out that I'm looking forward to. Like Asgard's Wrath. That's one of the games that I'm looking forward to. I think when I get done with this podcast, before I go to bed, I think I'm going to download Blade and Sorcery, which is a very graphic game where you can do combat against, it has a kind of Roman look to it, where you're fighting other warriors with swords and shields, and you can cut off their heads, you can cut off their arms, their legs, you can drive the sword through their body, all kinds of crazy shit. The game's only $20. And it's got ragdoll physics like drunken bar fight, except that you can take it to the next level and cut that shit off. Diver, what is up, motherfucker? I love you, nigga, motherfucker. Yeah, you said you need that Iron Man VR. Absolutely. Again, if Iron Man has half the success as Spider-Man did, that's going to be the game that's going to make people say, hey, I wasn't really too crazy about VR, but I think I might give it a shot. I think that's what Iron Man can do for the PlayStation VR. So again, lastly, I want to talk about these VR racing sims. Diver, you said since they're shutting down a shift next month, they have us working Mondays and Tuesdays. I'm not running for you. We'll get this fight going. Absolutely. And I didn't know, and I couldn't put you out in the street, Diver, because the fact of the matter is I couldn't make it to the fight because there's an issue with my car. I thought my car needed an alternator. My brother put the alternator in the car, but something is still killing the battery. And we still trying to work that out. We still trying to figure that out. So with that being said, I was not available to fight you on Monday anyway. So that's why I didn't jump out and like, oh, Diver didn't make it, and shit like that, because I couldn't make it either. But last subject before I get ready to go, talking about these VR racing sims that I was talking about, Project Cars 2 Race Room, which is a free-to-play game on Steam. But I guess they crack you over the head with, for buying, to buy cars and tracks and all that kind of shit. And then we have Assetto Corsa Competizione. That game is in early access. It's selling for $45 on Steam. I was able to find it on G2A for $29. Same thing with the Project Cars. That game was Project Cars 2 was $60. I was able to find it on G2A for $25. Anyway, all three of those games, again, the Race Room, that game is free. All three of these games support VR, and that is the reason why I bought all three of these games, is to find out which one of them is the best for VR. All right, talk to you later, Diver. We'll holler at you, no doubt. Hey, Diver, not just the Creed, man. We need to hook up on some other games too. I said it before about the PlayStation VR that they need more multiplayer games, especially so I can interact with my friends. So, you need to you need to scoop up Firewall or maybe when a No Man's Sky comes out, holler at that, get that or something. So we can hook up some more on VR, not just in the boxing ring. Much shit as we talk to each other, man. You my dude, I love you. So we need to hook up on that VR some more. So going back to these racing sims, I tried out all three of them in VR. Long story short, I had some issues trying to get started on them. I couldn't figure out how to get the VR part of it going because it's not right there in your face for some of these games, the VR part of it. Some of them you have to really dig through the settings to turn on the VR for these games. So that was a little bit of a obstacle course and shit like that. PSID change should be live in US to US now, UK tomorrow. Well, I tried it before I went live on the stream. I tried it and it wasn't there. Okay, you said let you know what games I want to rock. Let you the only reason you bought VR was so because of you. So let me know what games you want to rock. Absolutely, we'll hook up and find out which games is multiplayer, so we can hook up and play those games. I think Eve Valkyrie might be a game we can hook up on. That's a multiplayer game. You said go watch this video game called Remnant from the Ashes. If it's a VR game, if you tell me to check out any VR game, say, hey, check this out, I'll definitely take a look into it in terms of the trailers and reading reviews and that kind of stuff. You said Gears 5 is looking good. Naturally, I'm going to have that game because my son wants it, and because of the share feature on the Xbox, I will have Gears 5. But I'll probably play the multiplayer of it. What up, Thug Nasty? So yeah, and I know my son is looking forward to Gears 5, especially now that I got this PC. So he can see it in the in the best possible form, in terms of performance and resolution. So yeah, so we'll definitely see what's up with Gears 5. I'd like to think at E3 we'll get a date. I'd like to think we'll get a date for Gears 5 at E3, because if Microsoft doesn't show off this new hardware as has been rumored at E3, I think giving us a date for Gears 5 is almost going to be mandatory. So, Garuda, thanks a lot. Said hit the like button, people. I appreciate it. So yeah, I think I want to say that that's a given, that Microsoft is going to give us a date for Gears 5 at E3, unless they plan to do it on one of their own stages, like that Inside Trash or another XO. Said you'll rock the multiplayer with me for sure. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. I still got my Xbox Diver. And matter of fact, what was it? Was it Spades we was going to play? That one time we was about to play Spades, and I couldn't do it because my Xbox was fucking up or whatever the case may be. I ended up giving that Xbox to my nephew, and I ended up buying an Xbox One S a few months ago. So I got a fully functional Xbox now, so we can definitely hook up and do the spade thing. We can definitely play some spades and shit like that too on the Xbox. So it don't have to be just VR. We can hook up on some other shit too. So it took me too long to get to this VR racing sim subject like I wanted to. So I'll just condense this and just say what I got to say about these 3 games. There's still some settings that I got to work out. It took me forever to figure out how to use my racing wheel on Project Cars 2. I figured out how to use the racing wheel on Assetto Corsa. No, not Assetto Corsa. On the race room, I was able to get my wheel working on that. I have not been able to get it working yet on Assetto Corsa Competizione. I know I got to go into the settings and figure that out, because that's one fucked up thing about PC. I hooked up my racing wheel to the PC, and when it said set up and ready to use, I just assumed that the games would recognize the wheel and automatically let me use it. I have to go into the settings and physically set the shit up. So that's one of the things that's a little bit of a nuisance with PC gaming, with these racing wheels and shit like that. You have to physically go into the game. You got to install these drivers, do all kinds of little petty shit, and then still go inside the game and turn the shit on. Long story short. So these 3 games that I was talking about, Project Cars 2, Assetto Corsa Competizione, and Race Room, all 3 of these games, I would probably say out of the 3 games, don't cut this into stone. Diver, you said you lost 15 pounds and you gained muscle in your arms and chest. That's what's up. In my case, I'm just, I haven't been in the gym. I want to say in about a month and a half. So I got to get back. I got to get back to it because I'm not quite looking like I did in this picture. So I got to get back to that. You know, I still got an athletic build. I'm just not as big as I look in this picture, but I'm still, you know, I still got an athletic build. So I'll get back to it. Uncompetitive warning: PlayStation ID change has critical issues with MLB The Show. MLB The Show 15 or MLB The Show 19. Because if it's MLB The Show 15, that ain't no big deal because I deleted that shit, you know, a long time ago. But if you're telling me it's got critical issues in MLB The Show 19, that is a red flag. That is something for me to be weary of. Garuda Legends, get a racing wheel that lets your car go straight. If it's not going straight, then it's a cheap game racing wheel. Garuda Legends, I've got the Thrustmaster T150. I think it's you said at 16, not 19. Okay, no problem. But they did say that any game that there could be issues with games that was published before April 1st, 2018. So with that being said, you know, those MLBs don't affect me. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and follow through with changing my name when this podcast is over, assuming that it has reached my PlayStation. So back to the racing sims for about the 95th time. You know, so I'm just going to get straight to it. In terms of graphics, you know, in terms of clarity, Project Cars 2 was the worst of the three because it did look blurred, you know, and I don't know if that's because of my settings or if that's just the way the game is. But it was blurred. In terms of clarity, I felt like it was about the same as GT Sport on the PlayStation VR. It was blurred, but it was still clear enough that I could still see everything. You know, I could still see where I was going. I think in terms of in terms of clarity, it's probably a toss-up between Assetto Corsa and the Race Room. In terms of physics and gameplay, I think I have to give that to Project Cars 2 because the car, I think, behaved, you know, when I went around corners and that kind of stuff, the car leaned like a real car. Whereas Assetto Corsa, when I was taking hard corners, the car barely leaned, you know, but I know that I'm racing GT3 class race cars, and these are basically race cars with a production body on it, but underneath it is still a race car. PlayStation Gould, what is up? So I think Project Cars 2 had the best physics. And probably as far as my racing wheel goes, I think I was getting the most feedback from Race Room. Because the feedback on Project Cars 2, the force feedback wasn't that great, but I know I got to go in there and fuck with the settings. I know there was like updates and shit like that, force feedback updates that came out and all that kind of shit. And it doesn't seem to be like the force feedback shit doesn't seem like it's a simple click of a button. You know, it's like you got to go into these fucking folders and find the shit and then set it and type in numbers and all kinds of silly shit. You know, that's the one thing I do like about consoles, especially when it comes to these racing wheels. It's plug and play. The shit is already calibrated. You go. That's not the case in PC. You got to set all this shit, you know. But in terms of performance, Assetto Corsa was the worst because this game is still in early access. I dare say that Assetto Corsa through the VR goggles, that shit was so skittish that I dare say that the game was probably, it looked like it was moving at 20 frames per second. That shit was so terrible. You know, games like Zero Caliber, when I play that game, you get the frame rate right up in the corner. It shows you right up in the corner what the frame rate is, and I'm averaging around 90, I think 94 frames per second on Zero Caliber. But this shit on Assetto Corsa, the frame rate was absolutely horrible. But I did see a video where a guy did warn that he said you might want to wait a while, take a break playing VR from Assetto Corsa because of the frame rate. He was saying that he was struggling to make 40 frames with a 1080 Ti. So yeah, as far as that goes, as far as the VR part of it goes, I probably won't be going back to that set of courses until I get that shit right. So I'll probably do the way things are sitting right now. I'll probably, as far as the VR standpoint of it goes, I'll probably end up doing most of the racing from Project Cars 2. This is a set of course competition. Yeah, the frame rate was skittish. Impatient Fire. And the game is still in early access, and the shit costs $45. I think that's ridiculous for early access game. Like I said, I was able to get it for $29 at G2A. So I was able to save about $15 there. You said your GTX 1070 would have gotten smoked. You know, the other thing, Impatient Fire, I guess it's a good thing that I bought the computer that I got, because when you go to Steam and you go to the Oculus store, any game that you try to buy, it'll show you the system requirements that you need. And a lot of these games on the Steam store require a minimum of 16 gigs of RAM, which is what I have. It seems like for the older, like to me, it seemed like the older games, these games that look like they were, 3-4 years old, those VR games, those ones, and the ones that look really cheap, like they cost $3 and shit like that. It seems like it requires a minimum of 8 gigs of memory. But like some of these higher budget games, with better graphics and that kind of shit, to me, they look like like I said, they need at least 16 gigs of RAM. And then I'm going to check this game out called VR Paradise. Not to sound freaky or nothing like that, but a couple of days ago, Mr. 4K Upscaler was doing this game called VR Paradise. It's a VR experience where he was basically in the strip club, and the women, walk up to you, ask you if you want to dance and shit like that. You can pay for dances with, virtual currency and shit like that. But the one fucked up thing about that thing is, I guess if you want full nudity, you got to be a VIP member of the game, which I'm sure is going to cost money. So, no, I'm not going to pay for the VIP shit. You said, yeah, I upgraded my RAM to 16 gigs in 2017 because of VR, and it improved things a lot. Yeah, without a doubt. Uncompetitive. Do you think it is good to have an established, well-featured alternative to Steam when Gabe Newell eventually dies and it winds up being run by someone else differently? Yeah, that is well, maybe by then, maybe the Epic Store will be on the level of Steam. Right now the Epic Store has a lot of catching up to do, but maybe they'll be on that level. Maybe by then another entity will step in and challenge the both of them. Who knows? But yeah, I definitely get what you're saying right there, because when Bill Gates, I think looking back at it, when Bill Gates was still in charge of Microsoft, Xbox itself wasn't that terrible. But once he stepped down, Xbox just got worse and worse over the years. No passion to give us good games, and more monetization schemes through subscriptions, and delivering bullshit ass games to us. So yeah, I can get where you would be concerned about that. So, but I guess that's something I don't want to think about right now. At my age, shit, I could possibly go before him. I just want to enjoy the time that I have, right now. And again, I feel fortunate that at 52 years old that I'm able to experience VR. My father is he'll be 72 years old in September. Unfortunately, his health is so bad, he's withered away so much that I'm not sure he's going to make it past this year. Two things that my father is really passionate about is playing chess. My father loves to play chess. or at least he did, and he was a huge Trekkie. And when Star Trek Bridge Crew first came out, the first thing that hit my head was, I know my father would love to look through those VR goggles and see a starship in its actual size and actually see how huge that starship is. But because of how old and his terrible health and shit like that, that's something that my father is never going to be able to see. With that being said, I feel fortunate that at my age, and I'm still in good enough health to be able to play VR. You know, because for some people whose health is so bad, being able to stand up for an hour is a challenge. So I feel fortunate to be able to experience VR. You know, thanks, Impatient Fire. I really appreciate it. You know, it's just a fact of life. He's really old. He's had several strokes, a couple of heart attacks, and stuff like that. And truth be told, I thought he was going to go a couple of years ago. He's still here. You know, yes, he's still withering away. He's still here. You know, but he hung around a lot longer than I thought he would. So, but yeah, I wish he would have had it. I would have loved to been able to put those goggles on him and let him see the Enterprise in its actual shape, in its actual size. Because, like, you know, James Tiberius Kirk is one of my father's favorite. Is one of my favorite people. It's one, you know, he loves Kirk. So, what do we got here? I think. Oh, if he's still in the chat, Kevin JCT, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it, brother. Hope you're enjoying the content. I did see your comment earlier in there. I think you said you just popped in here random. I appreciate you coming to the channel. I appreciate it. I hope I continue to provide good content for you. So welcome aboard. Welcome to the channel. And make sure you tune in Saturday when I do my live from Wakanda podcast. As I go over the gaming week in review. I usually talk about everything that's happened the past week. Today I was just focused on a few isolated subjects that I wanted to talk about. This coming Saturday when I do live from Wakanda, I will talk about all the gaming news. You know, because there's been a lot of news. I've been taking notes. Let me have a quick look real quick at the notes so far. You know, like this weekend, I think EA is supposed to do some kind of live stream for the upcoming Star Wars game. You know, talk about this situation with the Nintendo Switch where people were bought the Wolfenstein game, but it didn't have a cartridge in it. It had a code. It had a case with a code inside of it, and a lot of people are outraged by it. That's nothing new to me, you know, because Sony actually did it with some of these Vita games. So yeah, there's a lot of news, you know. Borderlands 2 is supposed to release on PC this summer. I mean, Borderlands 2 VR. He said PSID is live now following an operating system update, which means I'll probably have to. That's probably why I haven't had to do it. Spartan God, Lincoln Ubisoft CEO said we're going to hear something on Splinter Cell. Yeah, that's part of the notes that I wanted to talk about because I think in an interview he talked about why we hadn't seen a Splinter Cell game in a few years, you know. And I think in so many words, I think you know, people did not want them to change anything about Splinter Cell. So the way he made it sound from their standpoint, I think they felt like Splinter Cell was becoming a rinse and repeat game. So they probably wanted to take a break from it. You know, so it'll be good to have a Splinter Cell coming back. You know, that's one of the games that brought me and my Xbox friends together. about 15 years ago when we first met. The Rainbow Six and Splinter Cell was, Splinter Cell Double Agent was one of the games that we were playing a lot. I think Splinter Cell Double Agent, the multiplayer on that game, I think to this very day that it's still one of the best stealth games, out there. He said he will be a drag queen, the dude in Splinter Cell. He better not. Said I won't be changing my name. It won't accept my choice. Huh. Odd. If there were any spaces in your name, did you add underscores or hyphens? So, but closing up the situation with the VR streams of the racing games that I tried, it looks to me like we're still not there yet, in terms of a set of course of competition. If you're supposed to be able to race VR multiplayer, that's probably got to be utter crap, because in a single player race where I was getting that skittish performance where it looked like I was running at about 30 frames per second, there's no way that shit's going to work VR multiplayer. So that's out, But I think, again, until we get enough updates, until Assetto Corsa becomes a full game and is out of early access, I think Project Cars 2 is going to be my go-to game when I want to play VR, racing against a full grid. And I think, I am unable to stream those games live, so I'll have to record them and then upload them as videos. So I'll eventually get to that, because it is fun. It is so fun racing in VR. I just cannot get enough of that. And it's also one of the games where I get to sit down and use a racing wheel. So that is a lot of fun. And I think, and I absolutely can't wait until next generation when I feel that Sony is going to bring us that VR multiplayer for the next iteration of the GT franchise. So I absolutely cannot wait for that. With that being said, I'm going to get ready to get on out of here. Let me take a look at VR 365. He's live. Like I said, I saw his channel a couple of months ago, and and when I sat down and watched one of his podcasts, he's passionate about VR, and that's what I'm looking for. I don't, these other guys like Tyrell Wood, and Virtual Oasis. Those guys are all right, but these guys talk more like tech guys rather than guys that's passionate about VR. I want to watch podcasts of guys that are passionate about VR. 360 VR 365. I absolutely like these podcasts that he's doing, and I think at some point I'm going to try to reach out to him. So with that being said, I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. As always, I enjoyed chatting with all you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a bite to eat. I think I still got some more wings left. So I think I'm gonna throw those in the air fryer and throw some hickory smoked barbecue sauce on them. God damn. and again, Princess, I'll keep my eyes open for a PSVR sale and the next one that comes along, and like I said, we'll make something happen. Impatient Fire, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Shout out to all of you. Shout out to Gamertag VR for popping in here. I really appreciate it. Be on the lookout for when he comes on live from Wakanda. When I'm looking to have him become a guest on here a week from this coming Saturday. as he said, he'd be honored to come on, and also keep your eye out because I will be getting in touch with. He sent me an invitation a little while ago. I got to hit him up, but Joystick Guru, I'm going to ask him to come on here. Ask him to come on here as well. So keep your eyes open for that. And as always, whenever Craig happens to be near the Wakandan border, he's always welcome. He always has a seat at the royal table. So, as always, it's always a pleasure to have him on here. That's not going to change. I enjoy having Craig on live from Wakanda. I think he's a regular fixture on the show, and I absolutely love having him on the show. I think we have absolutely great chemistry on live from Wakanda. So I definitely want to keep that ball rolling too. So. With that being said, we'll go ahead and roll on out of here. I want to thank everybody for watching. Give it a like. And I will, as far as podcast goes, I will see you guys Saturday on Live from Wakanda. Wakanda forever! Catch you guys later.